Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm the off-duty furniture flipper. My name is Michelle Gilroy and I'm here to show you how to do a furniture flip on a dresser that I picked up off of Facebook Marketplace. I'm going to do it kind of Christmassy in the color of olive green. It's in tune with the season and I thought I'd start that because the holiday season has started. For me anyway, it is November and I like to get ready. So I'm going to get started on this, and just to let you know, I'm wearing an old scrub top, not my new scrub tops that I wear to work all the time, and the reason being is because they're so darn handy. If you have a local thrift store that has old uniform tops, feel free to pick them up or even buy them at Giant Tiger. They're pretty reasonable and they make great work tops. So let's get started on this dresser. This is the new but obviously old dresser that I got off of Facebook Marketplace. It's seen better days. It was almost forgotten, but a doggy decided to remember it and make it his chew toy. I thought it was a great size. It was a little bit smaller than the triple dressers that I normally do, and I thought it could be used in a dining room and as a hutch if need be, if I made it a little bit more formal, or in a bedroom that might be a little bit tight on space. So I picked it up and I started the process of changing it into a Christmas cutie. Just a reminder to hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this. As well, hit the bell if you want to be notified, and like or leave a comment. Hi, so we're back and we're ready to do the first step, which is to remove the hardware. We always start with that. And we select the appropriate drill bit and we tighten it in by just twisting it with my drill. Okay, so and I'm using my drill bits, my DeWalt drill bits here, and they have different ones, and as well as screwdriver bits that you could use a screwdriver with. You press the button for the reverse because we're taking the screws out, and you line it up, and you basically just remove the hardware. Okay, so we're back and we're finished taking off the hardware, and now we're ready to clean. I've got my bucket of Dawn dish soap and hot water, warm water, and my clear water bucket to rinse off afterwards to get all that soap residue so that we can get the paint to adhere to as much of the dresser as possible. This first clean is to get rid of the germs and things like that, and there of course will be more cleaning after. Also too, just a reminder, the inside of the dresser I always like to spray, put in a spray container, half solution of half water, half vinegar, and this is to get rid of any strange odors that came with the dresser after you've cleaned it out, and basically so that you can provide your client or yourself, whoever, with a dresser with no odor in it, and at least start off that way. So let's get busy and let's get cleaning. The wood filler that I'm using today is the Elmer's Pro Bond water-based wood filler. It is stainable, paintable, and soundable, and supposedly dries 3 times stronger than the rest. Okay, so what I've done here to the wood filler, I've grabbed a piece of this wood filler is kind of drying out. You can always add water to it to get it to a much more liquidy texture, which is what I'm probably going to do with some of the scratches here. But with this, you can shape it, mold it a bit, spritz it with a little bit of water, and it just holds together a little bit better, just like cookie dough really. And you can go ahead and put that on and push it in, shape it kind of to the shape that you want, and you're going to leave that sit and dry for at least an hour. This, I believe, is a 3-hour dry time, so it's going to take a little bit of time. Okay, so now that the wood filler is dry, I just wanted to show you that corner that pretty much deemed this dresser worthless to the original owner, or the second owner actually. Because their dog had chewed the end of it, they thought it was junk. But really, in reality, all it needed was wood filler and some sculpting. And so basically what I did with this 400 grit sandpaper disc that I had left over from my random Orbital sander, I just went lightly over the area, very gently, and just kept molding and molding and molding it and sanding it flush with this wood here. And that's it. It looks like every other corner on this dresser. So that's how easy it is to fix something like that with wood filler. The primer that I'm using today is the Benjamin Moore Natura primer. But this is no longer available, the Natura primer from Benjamin Moore, but they have other primers that are really excellent as well, that you can definitely get from Benjamin Moore. The different, I think it's called Ultra Spec Advance is one that I used as well. And so I'm just shaking it up, and we're gonna open it up in just a second. Okay, so we're just gonna open up our primer here. I'm just using a screwdriver. Butter knife works. Also, you can buy something from I have something from the store that I purchased, but screwdriver does it. So does a butter knife. Just get underneath the lid and you pop it open. All right. So this primer is a dark gray. I tinted it with a color called Midnight Dream by Benjamin Moore. I've used it on a previous dresser before, and it works really well as a dark primer to cover up underneath. The color that we're using today is a dark color, so you definitely want to use a darker primer if you can. Not all of your hardware stores will tint primer for you because there's not a lot of room in the cans to do that, to add the colorant, but some will. To put on the second coat of my dresser. I did the first coat of primer in the dark gray, and then I mixed together a couple of different paints that I had, a yellow and a blue, so that I could have this color of green. You can do that when you've got matching paints. You can mix them together. What you need to remember is that you need to have a ratio figured out so that you can copy that ratio if you have to. I know that it's 1 part yellow, 1 part blue to make this green. It's really easy. And there was no other tweaking involved. What I did was I mixed it together, put it in a bowl that I didn't really care about. Again, you could get those from a thrift store or from Dollarama, and put the two paints together. I had an old mixer that I had, and I just mixed it up for a couple of minutes to make sure that it was thoroughly mixed together and saturated through, and then I put them into a mason jar like this, actually 3 of them like this, and so that way I can use them at a later date for a different project if I wanted to. I wanted to make sure that I had enough in case I don't like to run out of paint, and I didn't want to have to mix it all back up again. So this color that I've made is an olive green with a bit of a kind of a bluey undertone, a little bit. It's not a true olive so much. There, that's it. Yeah, so I'm gonna just pour that in to my roller container. I know that I'm going to use all of that. I'll probably continue to use some more. And again, if you were keeping this for later, just a reminder to put a saran wrap in between the lid and the jar so that it's easy to get back open. And you can also make sure to clean your lid. It just saves you a little bit of time by using the saran wrap. It's totally up to you. And I'm using my water just to thin it out a little bit. So, okay, so give it a spray. Get your roller. Okay, I will try and show you. There's the roller container, and then there's your roller. Make sure that it rolls okay. You're gonna dip it in, and then you're gonna take some off. That's what this part is for. Okay. All right, so now we start. Sometimes you don't know until you've put on the first coat whether you need to wood fill a little bit more, because the scratches that you thought would be okay to just paint over top might need wood filler after all. And then, so after your first coat, you kind of reevaluate, you sit back, you think, what can I do differently to make this as presentable as possible? Okay, so I wanted to do something different with this. So what I decided to do was stencil. Normally I don't stencil, I just paint flowers and stuff on and sort of make it my own thing. But I wanted something really uniform with it, just the feeling that I get with this piece, and almost like wallpaper. You can do that, it just takes a long time if you don't have a stencil. Or if you make your own stencils, I guess you could do that on your own, or with Cricut. You would just need the right supplies with all of that. This stencil that I got, I think this was from Dollarama. It was a long time ago actually that I got it, so I'm just using it today. Like I said, I'm not much of a stenciler. So I'm securing it down now with the painter's tape. I'm going to mark it here just so that I know where to start for the next bunch, so that you are you know, properly spacing your stencils and you're not having them kind of all over the place. It loses the uniform design. So to do this stencil, I cut down this chip brush. I also have another brush if this one I don't feels right. And I mixed this charcoal gray, and it was basically from, I think it was Michael's brand Craft Smart. I'm not sure where this chalk paint came from, and some folk art that did come from Michael's, and just mixed it together to get this charcoal gray. You could also just purchase some there. And so also too, you're gonna need like some paper towel, just to dab off your brush to make sure that it's not overloaded with too much paint, because then you end up with like some slippage there. And this look that I'm doing is more of a faded look, so I really don't want a lot of paint on there. So I decided to go with this contemporary piece of hardware on the right. It is the brushed nickel one. I got it from Habitat for Humanity for a very reasonable cost. I liked it, but I wanted to spray paint it in gold, so I got my Krylon gold paint out that I get from Michael's, and I sprayed it probably a total of 3 times, and then I protected it with Varathane spray in a satin finish. The top coat that I'm using today on the dresser is the Varathane Diamond Wood Finish interior in a satin sheen. Okay, so I've poured some out into a container that I was using for something else and just washed it out and decided to use it for my paint projects. And also too, I've shooken up the top coat first. Ideally, you want to stir, not shake, because of all the bubbles. I don't know if you can see it, but there are bubbles in there, and those have to settle down before you apply the top coat. And also too, I've got my jar of the green paint that I was using on the dresser. I'm going to dip it in a little bit, and that you're going to stir in with your top coat like this and tint this top coat a bit green. The reason being is that it minimizes the streaks and the cloudiness, and so that the top coat becomes an invisible cover over top of your paint rather than something that's like a cloudy film. You don't want that. So you just add a little bit of this stuff, not a whole lot, just to tint it a bit. Just keep stirring until it's a nice even coat, and wait a few moments until some of those bubbles also disappear, and then you're going to start your top coat. Okay, so we're ready to start the top coat here, and I've got my drawers lined up, and I put my drop cloth on underneath so that you don't get anything on your furniture. And I've got my sponge that I've gotten from Dollarama. It's got the green scrubby stuff on the one side and then the yellow on the other side in case you're looking for them. Also too, I've cut up an old nylon. That is to put over top of your sponge so that it eliminates some of the bubbles that were created when you stirred up your top coat. And so we're ready to go with this, and we're gonna dip our sponge in, show you what exactly I'm doing here. So this is your sponge, and you're dipping it into this solution that you've created with your darker coat and your top coat. And you can scrape some off if you want, just so that you're not putting a great big glob on. Again, waiting a few moments for those bubbles to die down is a great idea. We're done putting on the top coat, and we're ready to put in the hardware, get this dresser sold, get it up on Facebook Marketplace and Kijiji. But first we have to stage it so that it looks presentable to the buyer, and to make sure that they see it in the best light that they possibly can see it. You want your product to show that it can be in any modern home, in anyone's home, and make it shine. Now try to remember this sad and old and almost forgotten dresser that only a puppy remembered because he loved to chew it. See it now for the elegant and unique classic Christmas beauty it has become. Thank you so much for watching Off-Duty Furniture Flipping. I am Michelle Gilroy. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please hit the subscribe button, like this video, or leave a comment in that section. Thank you for watching again, and I hope you have a great Christmas season.